Welcome back. Episode 64 of the Ground Up podcast. UK house prices dropped sharply in June. Prices fell by 0.8%, the steepest drop since February 23.
Every month that is not being sold, it's almost losing 1% of its value in debt costs.
Every time, it's a bad investment.
I think autumn to Christmas is going to be a breaking point. If they last another year, I'll be impressed.
Bond markets are basically there going, oh, we're ready to pounce.
If Trump offered to run our country, would you accept it?
It's going to be carnage, man, so prepare.
But I shit you not, I've got a preppers list. I've got it down to 25 grand.
25 grand? How can you spend more when we're in hunker down?
Rachel Reeves crying at PMQs. You can see the time when she cries and how that affects the pound and the 10-year gilts is insane.
Look how I feel.
She's been to the regatta too, isn't she?
Ground up sound, ooh, yeah. Real estate deals. We lay them down, let's get those deals. Deals making money, baby.
Welcome back. Episode 64 of the Ground Up podcast. Today, we've got quite the itinerary of topics to go through. House prices dropping in June, which we're going to cover. We've got government absolute shit show, which we're going to cover as well. It seems like it's all falling apart for Labour and how that's affecting the bond market, which will affect borrowing costs. So have a look at that. And then we're going to talk about a few other bits and bobs going on in our economy, but also AI and a tool called Replit, which is an absolute game changer for SMEs. And we'll close out the podcast on that. But you've got to stick around for that because this is fucking game-changing shit if you're in business and property and all sorts. So yeah, it's gonna be a good docket. And if you don't know who we are 4 property developers based in the UK. And every week we get around the mic and talk about property business, our weeks, struggles, triumphs, how stuff's going. So hopefully you enjoy. Make sure you subscribe and share the podcast with people you think may find it interesting. We've got Jack Jiggins, Stuart Wyeth, Dorian Payne. It's his birthday today, so he has an excuse for being late, but he will be here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. And myself, Ryan Beaumont. So enjoy. Let's see how we're getting on, boys. Stu?
It's been really good, mate. Yeah, sun's been shining. We've had I'm feeling a lot better than Jack. He's a bit raspy this morning. He's been away, so I don't know if he wants to go first or you want me to kick off with my week.
Have you been for a dip?
I've only had one dip this week. Yeah, been quite a busy week. We've had an offer accepted on this new site, so I'm just in the very final stages of preparing everything to start hitting the phones all weekend and all next week with contacts, people with money. Obviously, I'm trying to go out to the network of people I know before we start casting the net wider. But I just really wanted to put everything together in one document of it's got a little bit of everything. This site, it's got a Class MA play, it's got 20 units to build, it's got planning play at the back, which is really where some value add could be. So yeah, very excited. But just preparing everything. So I spent this week really going out, been to site with the planning consultant, with our architect, lead architect, head architect, Vida, who are going to help us with some network rail issues. So yeah, we've had, and then we've met the agent and just trying to understand exactly what is in the deal, because there's a parcel of land that's just outside the title, which is included in the deal, which is great because it gives us a much bigger plan to the back. So yeah, very excited. Had all 18 building control certificates land on a desk yesterday afternoon as well. So that was really, really good. That was for the bank. So that's all signed off. And we got 8 of the 18 rented, and the first one moves in on the 8th of July. So yeah, really excited to sort of get that one. We had it all tarmacked, all the lines are being done today. Just trying to work out whether we should number them or whether we should put letters on them, because there's 10 and there's only 18 flats. And we were wondering if we put numbers on there, will flat 3 think, even though they shouldn't, but will flat 3's visitor who pulls in and sees no one parked in car park 3, that's their flat and they park in there and it could cause mayhem. The things you got to think about. So we're thinking about lettering the car parks and numbering the flats, because we've already done that, and see if that, just trying to preempt issues that we just don't want when we're asset management. We sold the car parking separately to the flat, so funny, out of the 8, 3 of them don't need parking, so that's great. It's a good balance at the moment. Some people, especially with the HMOs and where we're located with trains and stuff in the flats, that not everyone drives, so we're quite happy with that. So the ones that have got parking though, we're going to allocate them a letter and that'll be their parking. So yeah, we'll see.
Can you put I don't know, for ones who've booked their parking spaces or you've got them, can you have a sort of reserved sign that you just put on those spots or something? Or
But I'd rather just go, you're in letter H and be done with it and let them know that's their space. And yeah, we've got private parking signs up, and obviously we're off a main road. We're hoping the general public won't park in the sites, but we've allowed for power at both the in and out entrances. So if it becomes a problem, we'll then put gates on it later. But it's just trying to keep it maintenance free and just make it as easy as possible, because we want to hold this building for 10 years or so, so we might as well make it as simple as we can. Twickenham's flying, absolutely flying, the boys. I've got some drone shots and some video midweek, which I've not been there in a few weeks, to be honest. I'll probably get up there end of next week, just focus on this new deal. But yeah, Twickenham's going really well. We've got the scaffold banners going up. We've got all the wrapping being done in the SW homes, which looks wicked. So I'm going to get all the company headshots and stuff done in front of it, because it's quite an iconic building, really, right in the middle of Twickenham. It's going to make us look like we're a bigger developer than others, but it's going to make us look really good for our marketing online and the website and stuff. James House is flying. I just found out recently that my local council allow us to put up to 5 people without a license, which is a bit of a game changer. So I can work on different strategies now in putting cluster flats together to try and eliminate license costs, which is quite good. I probably shouldn't have said that on here, but it's quite good. I met the HMO, a new HMO officer yesterday. And Aldershot in Station Road, which is another little HMO. We've got a 6-bed there. It's flying. I've got some really good skilled labourers on it, which aren't costing the earth, but really stepping up in terms of what they've learned over the last 2 years working with our core development team. And then as and when we're not needing them on the main stuff, I'm sort of scraping them off to put them on the smaller things to see what they can do. And yeah, they're doing really well. So I'm getting a good, well-built project for effectively half price, which is handy when you're trying to juggle so many bodies around, keeping everyone busy. So yeah, it's going really well.
What are you knocking out a 6-bed at?
Well, at the moment we're still around 20 grand a flat, but we're doing batteries, solar panels, way over on the installation. You know, we're doing some good high quality stuff, because again, I just want to keep it for 20 years and not have a problem. I mean, we can probably do it slightly less, but I'm upping then the money I am saving. I'm spending on a slightly better kitchen and
Still not bad for 140.
yeah. We're still budgeting 150. I mean, that's what I've got in for a 6-bed. If I can bring it in for there or thereabouts and get it refinanced for 600, 625, 650. But we are so committing to the commercial mortgage, and I've got a broker now who's quite comfortable that we'll get a commercial mortgage on it, so I can show other comparables. And you know, it gets silly. You know, it gets like these 6-beds you can get refinanced to 825, 850, and pull out almost too much. So I'll probably try and get a commercial valuation and then do maybe a 60% loan to value to keep it realistic around the bricks and mortar. But obviously, most importantly, get all our money out. I don't want to squeeze it too hard, but it's just nice to know these options are there. When you start, you're sort of worrying about getting most of your money out or leaving too much in. But yeah, it's good. It's going all right. So yeah, just got to raise some money. 2.2 million quid is literally what I'm out there to do. Don't want to pay the earth for it. It's a really good deal. It's well structured. I feel like we're going to take everything we've learned and we're going to try and push to get it.
anyone listening, you got 2.2 mil.
We actually need someone with 5 mil, because I need 2.5 as well.
Anyone who's got 5 mil or know someone with 5 mil, hit us up.
Definitely.
Use
Definitely.
Fanny. And Jack, what's this about, mate? What's this? Who's that?
That's me yesterday at Regatta.
Regatta.
I'm a bit slower on my toes today. I was hosted at Henley Royal Regatta yesterday. I did 2 days at Regatta this week. Actually quite tame. It's normally just a big blowout, really. But I knocked it on the head at 9:30 yesterday evening, and the people that were hosting me were not knocking it on the head at that time.
Just explain to people who are not posh enough to go to a regatta, because even though it's half an hour from where I live, I've never been. And just say what you just said offline before, and I said, what's it like then?
So every reference, because obviously I'm married into America, and when everyone's like, "Where do you live?" I always say, if you've ever watched the movie Social Networking, one of the opening scenes is the 2 brothers rowing at a regatta race, and that is actually at Henley Regatta. So Henley has one of the straightest parts of the Thames, and it's basically I think it's like 1/4 of a mile straight. So they obviously race, and it's like a knockout where people qualify for boats, and then it's head-to-head 1-to-1, and then it goes all the way through Tuesday to Sunday, and you get knocked out as you go through. So the best rowers row all the way through to a Saturday and then might win the regatta. But as UK culture goes, it's an excuse to have a piss up and dress up smart like Ascot or something like that. So but for people around here, it's super popular because everyone from Henley, it's like the world comes alive in Henley when regatta's on. It's like bustling, there's loads of people around, people are all dressed up, boats are all out on the river. It's good fun. So every business around Hanley kind of hosts every other business. So I've been out twice this week. Normally I do like almost every day there, but I'm not doing any more days now. I'm actually going to a family office conference today, so I'm gonna be dressed up smart and heading into the city for that. What also has happened this week, we did relevant for maybe listeners and anyone running their own businesses, plural, is we had our company review day. So pretty much every quarter, we get everyone in every business all under one roof, and we do a big presentation on every business, where we were, where we are, and where we're going, and allow our teams to ask questions about the companies they working, and also about companies that they are not working in, but may have an intriguing interest. So we had that on Wednesday as well, when we always have a bit of a party with the team afterwards, which is really good for sort of team bonding and culture. So we took them down to Regatta on the boat, which was really nice. And then, like Stu, been capital raising. Need a couple of million quid for a nice tasty deal in London. But that's pretty much all news with me, right?
Yeah, not as posh as a Royal Regatta, but I've had a banging week, mate. To be fair, yeah, business is just flying. Like, we've got, in terms of projects, the way we work is people commit to us, they pay a commitment fee, and then we go out looking for different kinds of projects. At the moment, I've got 13 HMOs to find, about 6 buy-to-lets, and that just grows like all the time, and 2 or 3 commercial to resis, depending on what I can find out there. So we just, on the acquisition side, we've just got to be fucking all guns blazing, but it's all good because it's all business to us, and it's all revenue that's fallen to all of our trading businesses. I tried doing the maths on it yesterday, but it'll be something like £3.5 million worth of revenue, at least. That's being conservative on the commercial to resis, that we have in committed like equity capital for the next just for the last sort of week and a half, 2 weeks worth of inflow. So it's great in terms of where I'm looking at our business. I'm constantly re-looking at our business models. At the moment, I'm using our AI guy to help us build like much more sophisticated company and group management accounts, so that we can consolidate everything nicely into like an interactive Excel sheet with ChatGPT baked into the back end, and we can run some interesting forecasts. Because when we have a client committed, it's like, if someone's committed to a commercial to resi, then that could be about £1 million worth of revenue to us, which is split in fees, construction costs, and then there's the lettings on the back end. And it's kind of, I want to be able to build something that gives me a really clear run rate on revenue based on committed clients up front, and how that'll affect the life cycle, how that'll affect resource requirements, but also just tangible finances that come in. And I want to build a sheet that really works for that. So I've got AI guy in the background fucking working away, trying to figure out how to strap in the APIs on QuickBooks into this Excel sheet, and then I'm formatting the Excel sheets in a completely different way for each company, each SPV, their own KPIs, and then that kind of pulls out into a group position. And I think that will give me a lot more control as a business owner, to have like a clear insight and be able to see month on month and go, right, where are we here? So where do we plan on going there? I'm sort of at that point now where I've got to be thinking like always like a quarter ahead, just in terms of staffing and things like that, because otherwise we're going to burst at the seams, because we've just got so many properties to find at the moment. So we're rallying the troops and speaking to some agents that we have worked with for a long time, and they usually bring stock to us. But I'm kind of speaking to some of these guys now who I trust, and I'm going, look, it's good you're bringing me your stuff, but I'll pay you an intro fee to find me other stuff from other areas of the market as well, because these guys know everyone. So I'm trying to incentivize like a network on the acquisition side, as well as then fulfilling all the obligations with the actual operation itself. But we've turned the tide on construction now, which is nice. The construction ship has been obviously precarious just to run a construction company anyway, especially over the last few years. And now we can like see the path more clearly, which has been bringing in new non-execs and bringing in better processes into that business. So it feels like we're getting control on it, like real control on it, and like predictability with site reporting and everything else, which is saying something, because fucking hell, construction company. I just wish every business owner tries running a construction company at some point, because it's just so fucking difficult. Just nothing goes the way you want it to go. Like I'm sure you'd agree with me, Stu. Like, you have a plan, everything's set, and it's like everyone just follow that process, and just some bollocks gets in the way. Just something every time, no matter how trivial the plan is. Could be the most basic thing that we're putting labor on this site there. They're just doing the plastering this week, maybe with another trade coming into another site or something, and there'll be something that screws it up, whether the site gets robbed or the materials don't show up on time or it's raining and it's too cold or the lads don't show up or the lads have a fallout on site. There's just so many things that get in the way that we're just trying to make it more robust. But
A build program is always designed to be broken, mate. It's just the discipline of referring back to it once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, every day is where the discipline comes in. I think we run the building program. I mean, it will always break. There'll always be things that go wrong. There's always bits you miss. There's always things that have to come in front of other things. The critical path changes. You just got to keep digging, really. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough gig, mate. But that's why we make our contractors margin, right? And that's why you have to make it on top of your development.
exactly. And speaking of contractor, look who it is. It's a birthday boy.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Judy.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
dear
dear
Dorian. Happy birthday to
Oh, I think we've
you.
just lost. I think we've just lost all of our audio listeners.
It's just us for now. Enjoying that birthday?
Yeah, had a surprise present session, I suppose. Breakfast in bed, presents from my little one. So it was I thought I was going to be able to get on here straight away, but then one of those difficult things, because in my mind, because I had this as well, the presents are coming, the cards are coming, and the birthday songs are coming, and the cakes they made. In my mind, I was like, I need to get on the podcast, man. I need to get on.
I love the fact you just rolled out of bed, but yet you still managed to find a Castaff Group T-shirt just to represent. I'd have come in my dressing gown, mate, on my birthday.
Mate, tax deductible and all that. Well, I'm working today. I've got to go to the office. I've got a meeting with the Welsh minister on site and stuff. The world doesn't stop. I like to celebrate my birthday around the day rather than on the day.
Do you find that a little bit frustrating? Because I feel like you turning 30 makes you older from the whole, like, when I talk about Dorian, I'm like, "Look, there's this guy I know, he's in his 20s, he's in Wales, he's doing some amazing stuff." I can't now say that anymore.
Obviously, Jack, I've known you for quite a while now, and I remember back in the days, like years and years and years ago, in the networking events when you was in your 20s, and I remember this. I remember thinking at the time, like, you were one of the youngest people in the room, and I was younger, so then I became one. And now I go, it's turned, and Stuart's very grinning at this as well. It's where the time is just going, isn't it? It's like, I don't most awards now I don't qualify for young entrepreneur anymore.
I'm almost hitting retirement, mate. I'm on the last few years.
When did you get your free bus card?
A couple of years yet, mate. A few decades to go yet. I've still got some time.
You'll be
adore
on
it.
that thing, chatting to everyone. You're right, darling.
Doing my
Yeah,
Luke. My
that's
nan does it every day. She's
on the
87. She
bus.
jumps on the bus and she goes to and from Marks and Spencer's for a cup of tea and a cup of coffee and comes back. She knows every bus driver on that route. She knows everyone on the bus. She loves it. She's 87. Goes on her own, bless her. Yeah, I'll be doing exactly the same.
D, how's your week been, mate? How you getting on? How's biz?
Yeah, look, I still feel like that 2p machine. The deals that I should have closed by now have been closed. I was semi hoping they would close today because it's Friday, my birthday. Like, we got this £13.5 million site that should have sold last week, should have sold 2 weeks ago, should sell today. And I don't believe it's going to be. I think it's going to be next week now as well. But every time that shunts on, several hundreds, thousands of pounds back in the business also moves on. So there's a lot. I think from a business point of view, I've got 2 big sites to start. We've got 4 handovers to happen. And I think the combined cash across them is something in the region of nearly 2 million. And, not having that in right now versus having it in as expected is causing a £2 million issue.
Yeah, anyone out there listening, we don't need 5 now, we need 7 million. So change that.
Oh, I've
to
already,
7 million. But Ryan, do you need any?
Are you in?
Let's,
Yeah.
let's just go for 10. We'll use
Yeah,
it.
go for that. I'll take 3 as well.
Go to a good home.
Yeah, if you don't mind. But how about everything else, D? All good? All good?
Yeah, good. I've had I think I told you last time I had a swimming lesson. So I've been doing that recently, so that was cool. That was yesterday. They were giving
I'm
me.
gonna say you've had 1 swimming lesson.
Well, I've had my second one now, and I I've got legal documents for the joint venture I'm doing with the institutional fund, so that'll be interesting to see how that pans out. And I'm also working still with that debt fund. I've had further calls with them, and that's still progressing. Team wise is going well. I brought in the operations director, as I discussed, and we're making some fundamental changes in the business. Brought in a new head of delivery as well. So we've got a goal as a business of just being the best at what we do, and that is what we're going to be doing. So, and I'm working on something exciting in the background as well with my wife, actually. So I will talk about that probably off air to you guys, but and then we'll announce it when it's ready to announce.
Exciting
All right.
stuff.
People in the States, you got to keep listening, guys.
Just
on
a
the
quick
next,
one.
episode.
On your swimming lesson, what do you do? They teach you breaststroke, front crawl. What's the first lesson that you have had done?
They go through a checklist. They go through a checklist about breathing, positioning, my timing, the arms, body, turning, and I'm mainly doing front crawl. I'm mainly doing front crawl at the moment, and there's quite a bit. Like I can swim, but I'm more of a self-taught swimmer. And what I want to do, my fatigue levels in swimming were like low, so I was getting tired quite quickly, and the techniques of how my hand was going in the water, positioning the hand, how I'm actually swimming, and I was over kicking, and then how I was turning to get a breath in, where my head positioning was, and using the toy to slow down. So, and that actually already after 2 lessons, I can swim literally like 3 times as far as I probably could before I started having those lessons already. So that's good.
Yeah, I think they call it swimming coaching, mate, when you were over 30.
Do you not put your armbands on and pick up the bricks at the bottom of the pool and all that sort of stuff? I used to love that, picking up the old heavy bricks.
All right, we're gonna move on from swimming lessons, and we'll talk about the market. But well done, D. Learning how to swim, fucking brilliant. All right, here we go, boys. Let's jump into docking because we've got quite a heavy one today. I don't know if you guys seen some of this data that's come out for the last month, but UK house prices dropped sharply in June. So UK house prices experienced their largest monthly decline in over 2 years in June, potentially influenced by changes to stamp duty in April, impacting demand and market activity. Prices fell by 0.8% in June, the steepest drop since February 23. Annual price growth slowed to 2.1%, the slowest rate in nearly a year, and changes to stamp duty thresholds in April affected market dynamics, causing temporary soft patch. I reckon this is more to do with London's impact. If you took the London weighting out of it, I wonder how the rest of the UK is actually performing. You guys see much of this from last month?
Deathly silent.
That's a no then.
Not a massive drop, is it? I mean, it's not catastrophe, but it is a knock-on effect of the stamp duty in April. Money tightening, that they're not printing any money, even though the big, beautiful bill's been passed yesterday in the House. So here comes 5 trillion or 16% extra money that's going to circulate. So, it means that everyone else will follow. Money becomes cheaper. And obviously, wages haven't kept up. So I think it's just a bit of a knock-on effect since COVID, to be honest. But it just means that the market's got to slow down and be a bit stagnant, a bit stagflation for 6 months, maybe. That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, we cannot ignore it is a buyer's market. There's not that much stock selling activity, is lower than typically. And one of the biggest misconceptions in real estate and development is price. Price doesn't matter so much. It's actually about getting the transactions out the door for speed. And to put it into context, typically when we've got a development site that we're delivering, every month that is not being sold, it's almost losing 1% of its value anyway in debt costs. So for people like us and developers, the most important thing is getting something out the door and sold. And that's still possible in this market, but it's more difficult. So you're having to push incentives, be very logical about how you approach the market, be very on the button with managing that sales process. There's a lot that goes into it's not just chuck it on Rightmove and see what happens. There's a lot of thought process that goes into it. We actually have a calculator which works out how much value diminishes on a flat every month so that we can aggressively reprice if we need to. But yeah, it's a little bit of a dry market at the moment, and that's going to happen relative to interest rates. They're still not as, I say to, if a layman walks up to me or someone that's not in property, I say now is the best time to be buying because no one else is buying. You've got a good choice. You have to carry a bit of debt for, maybe a couple of years that's a bit more expensive, but the property prices are good at the moment. And if debt costs go down, everyone starts buying, and then property prices rebounds to higher value. So yeah, not great for us at the moment, but still possible.
What you do? What you seen in Wales?
I know this is like I keep an eye on the market and stuff, but because everything we do is partnerships, we operate in a bit of a different bubble, so to speak, different market, and we are fixing our sales prices, so we're constantly the activity at the moment is that more funding is being allocated to social housing, affordable housing in Wales, but also in England, I see as well, and pricing is kind of steady, slightly going up actually, but mainly steady. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing it coming down.
Yeah, I'd say the same for Northeast. Yeah, build costs always going up. So I think this is quite a London-centric thing and probably a city location thing. I've had quite a few investors actually who come to us, and they put their capital years ago and ongoing into some of these flat schemes in London. These build to rent and build to sell flat and apartments that you see flying up everywhere. And every time it's a bad investment. They're all like, it's such a bad investment. The service charges are ridiculous. There's no appreciation. I can't sell them. There's like 1,000 on the market just in this area. So I think there's a lot of softening happening in London for various reasons. But particularly those apartment blocks that are flown up everywhere. I think they're just a bad investment for people. But
I mean, they always were.
yeah, they're always a bad investment. Yeah, I thought it was just interesting to bring that up. We'll see what happens next month, because 1 month blip might be fine, but if there's a trend starting to continue, then that could affect mortgages and borrowing and things like that as well. Okay, I want to touch on this before we go on to government, because I don't know if you guys have seen this. This has just been like a mental week for Labour. We've all been predicting this whole year, saying that are Labour going to last the year? It's an absolute shit show. The last budget was awful. The next budget is going to be ridiculous. And if you just look at stuff like this asylum seeker stuff and the spending that's just going mental and giving away the Chagos Islands, and like we're just spending like nothing. And UK's dependency on asylum hotels sparks government pledge for reform. The Chancellor Rachel Reeves' commitment to end the costly use of asylum hotels reflects a bipartisan effort to address financial inefficiencies and community tensions while exploring alternative accommodation solutions for asylum seekers. There isn't an alternative. There's only deportation, because the alternative is to build them houses, and that's going to be even more costly. So the UK spent 4.7 billion on asylum seekers in 2024 and 3.1 billion ongoing towards hotels, leading to significant profits for contracted providers, which I think we touched on in the last episode. Local community tensions arose from lack of transparency regarding hotel usage, leading to protests and far-right group exploitation. Government proposals to replace hotels with large-scale accommodation sites may not offer sustainable or dignified solutions, potentially isolating and stigmatizing asylum seekers, which is what they did in Ireland. And you see what's happening in Ireland now. So this government spending is going mental. Will then just lead on into this, which is, I don't know if you guys saw much of this or kept up to date with this, but Starmer's losing control quite quickly. So Starmer's loss of Commons control sparked speculation on autumn budget tax rises. So Sir Keir Starmer's government faced a humiliating defeat in the Commons, leading to concerns about inevitable tax rises in the upcoming autumn budget and uncertainty regarding key personal decisions. So obviously he has a mandate and the majority, and Starmer still faced a rebellion from his own MPs. Forcing a U-turns within a week, because he also needs to appease the Tories, so that he could get the collective votes that he needs. And then he's trying to please two camps that are completely opposing. Well, they're more aligned than they ever have been, but they're still opposing with a far left, and then what the right hand side wants to do, and that's kind of caused Starmer to sit in this position where he can't please anyone. And then there's all the financial troubles and the impacts of Rachel Reeves' decisions in the last budget. It's all just kind of going to shit, which then brings us on to this moment. I don't know if you guys saw this, but you must have seen this. Rachel Reeves crying at PMQs, and you can see the time when she cries and how that affects the pound, and the 10-year gilts is insane. So there's a little graph where you can see her crying here, 2 tears. She looked horrendous, like in terms of like she looked knackered, absolutely knackered.
She looks how I feel.
Yeah.
She's been to the regatta too, isn't she?
But that's how she looks. And then the pound falls against the dollar after Reeves' tears. So literally, that was the moment of the PMQs, and this is what happened to the pound. It's not a huge drastic drop, but it's a sign of what can happen when there's not enough confidence in government. And then you look at the 10 years. So cost of government borrowing rises after PMQs. There's the PMQs. There's the cost of borrowing. This is a prelude to what's going to happen with this autumn budget. And I think we're heading for a car crash. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that's been the shit show of UK government over the last week or so. What are we saying, guys? What do you think in terms of this anticipation towards the autumn budget is just getting more and more mental?
Get them out. Get them out. I mean,
I wish we could. It's
not to go. I mean, I do think they need to lose control. Really, like spending. So we're now spending 5 times as much to house people that aren't English than people that are English. It's fucking ridiculous. If they stay in for another 4 years, we'll lose control of our country and it won't be ours anymore, and everyone else will fuck off. You'd have probably have seen the stat that we've just surpassed the most millionaires that have ever left a country ever, and it's because the people that have money and sense are like they're getting off the Titanic before it's even hit the iceberg. We're losing our country essentially, and it needs to change. If they stay in another 4 years, we're fucked. I'm off.
well, that you heard that they're going to reduce the ISA from 20,000 a year to 5,000 a year. So there's no point even saving if you can. It's just, I mean, spending that much on asylum hotels. I mean, could they have put some emergency fund in it? I mean, they could have put them in fucking tents or in, short-term accommodation or something, and use that money so much wiser with the housing crisis. But
They could have rented Glastonbury for 2 years. It's not on. There's loads of tents there.
exactly that. They could have done something a lot cheaper. Someone's just got to use a bit of a brain and not just go to the shortest, just try and plug a hole. But the money's just spilling everywhere. It's ridiculous. And the only thing that happens is, I mean, I'm still pissed off with the India thing, the India deal they've done, where you can come over 3 years, don't pay any national insurance, employers' national insurance for 3 years if you employ Indian people. Well, what the hell? Like, it's totally misaligned with what British culture stands for. I mean, we're just putting ourselves behind the back of the queue, and the answer is to raise our taxes in every possible way and make it so unenjoyable to try and save money in this universe. I mean, there's a parallel universe that I live in, which gives me a lot more hope.
What's that universe do?
Well, I mean, you should have bought the Bitcoin price against the fucking PMQs, mate, because this has been a good week. But ultimately, we all know where I stand on that. But it just, because that is the only thing that gives me fucking hope against these bunch of retrobates.
I tend to agree, mate. Me and Robbie do the same thing. So you can catastrophize over government so much, and it's so easy to do now. It's a fucking shit show. But there's a bit of me that goes, do you know what? At least I got Bitcoin. Because worst case, I'll fucking just leave the country and I'll take the Bitcoin somewhere. Like,
At what point do we start rioting?
Well, I said autumn was when my civil unrest guess was. I think autumn to Christmas is going to be a breaking point where people are going to go, this is fucking shit. Why should you not control my emotions to this level? It's infuriating. Everything they're doing is infuriating. I mean, I want them to break, to be honest. The quicker they go out, if they last another year, I'll be impressed. I think the end of the year we've got to see another call on the general election.
Some budget now, innit? That'd be the thing, because the taxes are going to go up, and the problem they've done. I'm not an economist, but when they've done their little models behind closed doors, what they've assumed is that they can raise taxes, they can do all the things they've already done, and for some reason they probably modeled the growth of the economy is going to carry on going up, so then it all works out. What's happened now is people have left the country, so probably the tax, the rates have all gone up, etc. But you have the wealthiest people are also more than likely the most agile to move as well, because they can. But you've also had the economy. The economy hasn't grown in line with expectations. It's less. So that in itself has a negative impact on forecasted taxes. And now, if they try then to get out of that they were trying to get out of it with cuts. They can't control their own party to get in the cuts. So now, if they try to get out of it with more taxes, it's probably going to have another impact on growth, and you're going to end up in this hugely vicious cycle where they would need to basically change parties, with a party that actually can make cuts and control spending and drive growth through incentives.
I think everyone's lost hope now on our parliamentary system. It doesn't work. Like, no matter what party gets in, You just can't get past the Quangos or the Independent Bank of England that just regulate on their own fucking terms. They don't care about what the people want. It's so disbanded now that you can vote whoever you want in, and they can't fucking do anything. So this whole Blairite movement that was started in '97 and is continued to now, the idea that we should fucking house the third world because we have some kind of obligation to do it because of colonialism that helped lift up the world, and like the amount we gave to the world and that our ancestors did, and how that's been turned on us as if we owe reparations and shit. That whole era is dead. It's going now. The English public have just gone, we've had enough. We want to sort our own people out now, because what's the point in everyone losing? And I think that's what we're seeing with the rise of reform. I don't know if you guys have seen Restore UK, that's just come out this week, but that to me is the only hope in terms of having a peaceful change. If that doesn't happen, I completely agree with Stuart. I think we're heading for more than riots. I think there's going to be an outright civil war, which won't happen like overnight. It will be this trend towards worse and worse and worse communities and cultures, and then there'll be these kind of rebellions that break out, cultural rebellions, who want to take out the government and take out.
This is not just a UK problem as well, though. You know, you got to look at Germany and look at Europe. This is happening all over the place. I mean, it's where do you run to? You don't run anywhere. You fucking stay and fight and try and change policy and try and change from the inside. But you've got all these millionaires that are leaving. That's just leaving the fucking ones with the loudest voice and the ones that want to put their fists up and fight for a problem. Because when you're shouting at a brick wall and nothing's changing, it can just be infuriating.
I think it's important for me to raise this as well, because if no one's seen this, this is Restore Britain, backed by Rupert Lowe. It's not a party, it's a movement, and it's fascinating. This is Rupert Lowe, by the way, anyone who doesn't know who he is. He was a part of Reform, him and Nigel had a fallout and whatever, but he's a businessman. One of the most logical thought leaders in the UK at the moment. I love just everything is about just common sense, pragmatism. We need to restore the values of our, Christian Anglo-Saxon culture, as well as just common fiscal practice, like common sense fiscal practice from government. And what he's trying to do with Restore Britain that's different to a party is create basically a media company that's really well funded with big backers that goes after the establishment and after the Quangos, and just goes after them not just with media coverage and with investigative reporting, but also with the judiciary, with private lawyers who will get paid an absolute whack to just expose all the shit that's happening. And that to me is the only way we can at least try and bring the veil down and change things peacefully without just the country going to shit and everyone just upping arms and just like storming Parliament, which will also be a catastrophe. Like that will be carnage for everyone. So I think if you're out there, sign up to Restore Britain if you want if you want change. That's now the only way. I don't think Reform can do it. I don't think a party can do it. I think the whole establishment's just completely corrupted, and we need someone who can just go in and blow it up with a spotlight. What do you think, guys? Do you think the autumn budget is the moment? That's to be the consensus, that's the catalytic moment. Like, what's going to happen?
It's a deadline set in time. It's going to be when the spotlight's on them, and they're going to have to come out and say it, and it's going to be carnage, man. So just prepare.
They've got nowhere to go. They have to fucking raise taxes.
There was literally a news alert this morning saying that basically something along the lines of prepare for the autumn budget, because they're gonna the latest movements means that it's just going to be nothing but bad news.
We kind of want it to be drastic, because if it's not drastic, it's just death by 1,000 cuts. You kind of want it to cause a storm so that there's change. If they don't change anything, then we're still every month getting worse and worse. That budget for asylum seekers, it'll gradually get worse and worse. So we kind of need it to be a little bit drastic so that actually change happens, because a lot of people are just running with it.
I love the fact as well, they're still hiding behind that. We're building 1.5 million homes. It's like, you're building less than what the Conservatives done fucking already. Like, you got to be building a house every 3 minutes, and you're not even fucking started the clock yet, and they're a year into their party. I don't know. It's a premiership. Fuck knows, mate. I just think it's a load of smoke and mirrors, and I think Reeves is out the second it falls down. She'll be the scapegoat, and then there's got to be another general election.
Yeah, there's no way they're lasting the 3 years. It's just not happening. There's no way that I can't see the country dealing with it, and there's no plaster they can put on it to kind of buy out the 3 years either. They don't have the wiggle room. The bond markets are basically there going, we're ready to pounce on someone.
If Trump offered to run our country, would you accept it?
Become a 53rd state. After
We
Canada,
are a proxy. We're a proxy state, though, aren't we? Really, like we follow what America does.
we're owned by them anyway, aren't we?
We're owned by them anyway. We just have some sort of it. We're owned more by Brussels. We got the worst of both worlds. Like we get the influence of America, but none of the fucking good stuff, and we get all the shit stuff from Europe, and we're kind of stuck in between. Like it's just, well, I don't know how we got into this position. We ran the fucking world. Like how are we here now? And London, man, fucking hell, London. Oh.
It's like we're a middle child, and our older bigger brother is like a celebrity, and we get a little bit of fame, but just the paparazzi. And the younger child is like the next like G Einstein, tells us what to do, and we're in between, like having a shower after the famous one because we're not allowed the hot water. And
Oh fucking hell.
That's a great analogy, actually. That's exactly what's going on. Middle child syndrome.
Just read then that he's planning for America's 250th birthday to have a mega UFC fight and a huge party on the White House. So you got it's just goes. Could you imagine the gentlemanly British doing such things?
A regatta
In our
is what we
streets,
go.
mate.
Yeah.
We'll see
We
what
are,
we
mate.
do when we start the riots, mate. Do you remember the Luton? The Lutons look like fucking nothing compared to what's going to happen.
What'd you do? There's riot, civil war, whatever it is. What's your game plan? Where you going?
Fucking buy loads of tin fruit and 10 vegetables and fucking live in a basement for a year.
buy tinned vegetables.
Fruit, tin vegetables, tuna, the lot, mate.
That's all I'm getting, just hiding. Mate, I shit you not, I've got a preppers list. I've got an Excel sheet where I've like used ChatGPT and a load of like survival books and shit, and I've itemized and listed where you buy it from, everything you would need, ran a calculation on what you'd need per person, and then what that costs and how many items you need. So you put in at the top how many people you're prepping for, and it spits out how many.
How many vapes do you have to buy?
So I put cigarettes in there because in my head, cigarettes would be a good means of barter. Like in a prison, yeah, a cigarette becomes a good medium of exchange, and I think in that kind of world, cigarettes will be useful.
Did you know Did you know, talking about exchange of value? Did you know that a shot of liquor, or back in the day whiskey, is called a shot because the actual buying tool was bullets? So they used to say, "I'll have a shot."
The trouble is, right, with your list, mate, is you go to the shops and there's fucking nothing on the shelves. Then what do you do? Your whole spreadsheet goes out the window.
You go and
No,
steal it.
preemptively buy
I
it.
need to buy
So
it from here.
I've started buying it. So I've started buying things, and I've literally got it itemized with what are the most essentials. So things like 25-year food package. The cigarettes is the last on the list.
Be like a month's worth of bullshit. It's not going to be like a 3-year war here. This is going to be a month's worth of we need to change law and order.
I'll get 3 months of prepping stuff. So like, if there's 3 months of no food on the shelves and no water and a bit of like craziness going
It's
on,
loo roll. It's loo roll that goes out
rolls
first.
in there. Yeah, loo rolls.
Little life hack for anyone: get a bidet, so you don't need loo roll. Big
What
hack.
about if there's no running water, Jack?
Yeah, you need running water, mate.
If there's no running water, the toilet roll is the least of your worries.
Got a water pump and filter, everything, mate. You got to get prepped because if it happens and you're not prepped, you'll go shit.
But Jack has one of those Japanese toilets that massages you and heats you and stuff like that. Once his
Toilets are a waste of time. Don't use them. I'm too busy with work.
walk around in a nappy.
But yeah, legit, guys. You know, if you want to prep, like I've got it down to 25 grand for 10 people for over 3 months. 25 grand, and there's some stuff that extends there and would last you a little longer.
So expensive.
Does seem mad, doesn't it? Like
25 grand.
That's for every scenario.
Half
What
of
are you buying?
half
How-
of how Ryan
how
speak
can-
organising it.
Hang on a second. 25 grand. How can you spend more when we're in hunker down than surely you don't spend 25 grand every 3 months for that many people?
Have you got me on that list, Roy?
So that's for 10 people, yeah? Because you got to think about all the things you need in a survival scenario, boys. Like I can bring up the sheet for you if you want, but like there's things like crossbows. Yeah, crossbows in there. They're £1 a piece, mate. £1 a piece. So you get 10 of them, that's 10 grand.
£27 a day per person is what that works out to be.
Yeah, and it's £17 a day on just food. The food's expensive because you want to get the dry stuff that lasts 25 years on the shelf, so you can stick it in your garage as prep, and then you got 25 years. If something happens in 25 years, you've then got all this food, and that's £3 for 45 days worth that feeds a family of 4. £3 for that kind of food, so it's expensive stuff.
Living on dry dog biscuits.
I don't think it's going to be a nuclear war. I just think it's going to be a few rucks in the street, mate.
There might be, but like you know what happened in COVID? All it took is for people to panic a little bit. Suddenly, it was hard to get toilet paper. Like,
I think COVID is the example of why our country is getting worse and worse, because we've proven that we'll just do whatever we'll just bend over and do what anyone says.
First thing is the world's going to need an excuse to print 5 times more money than it did in COVID. They're already at COVID levels from 5 years ago. They need the next big thing on a global scale to have the excuse to go, we need more money. I mean, they've just come out on the House in the government in the US and just said we're going to raise the debt ceiling by 5 trillion, which is effectively about another 18% of their liquidity, which is fucking massive. Imagine having a credit limit going, we're already at max, but can we just have another 15, 20%? Yeah, don't worry. We will never be able to pay it off. But now they've done it. The ECB and Bank of England, they're all going to be able to do it at the same time. China have already done it. They live in their own world. So all this money, everything lifts in the same fucking boat. They need a big excuse to go, sorry, we need to deal with this problem and we need to print money. And that's the next excuse they're looking for between now and 8. And that's the only way the Labour are going to get out of it, is to print a fuckload more money. Everyone feels drunk for another 2 years and then we go into more of a depression.
Well, they're trying to push conscription and stuff, aren't they? It's like they're trying to tell us that the UK is going to go to war. It's like they're trying to force us into panic mode. And that's usually where they'll print money.
Yeah, exactly. It's fear mongering. You know, the Russian submarines are in the UK waters. You know, the British Army start advertising on TV. All these sort of subliminal. I mean, nothing's changed since the propaganda of the wars. I mean, it's just that they were exposed. It's just a new modern day propaganda where it comes up on social media and they can try and put fear mongering into people. People go out and spend 12 grand a month on food and put it in their garages and buy crossbows. I mean, that's just another way of getting people to spend and batten down the hatches, right?
You want to be
Well, there's one
You'll be
solution, isn't there?
consumed, mate.
What's
One
there is a
solution,
solution.
I'm
There is
sure
only
it's,
one solution that helps the world. Mate.
Ethereum.
It feels
Ethereum.
half the world's problems, mate.
Yeah, Ethereum. Or Solana. That's a good one as well.
Worth talking about. There's only one fucking protocol. One protocol wins it all. I think you should all go and study Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, baby. Happy birthday, D. Stu's got your Bitcoin.
What taxes do you think are gonna go up or in the autumn budget? What predictions do you have?
Corp
These are
tax.
just all the books you should
Maybe,
go and
maybe,
read.
maybe they
They're the ones you want to put in your.
Bitcoin. What do you reckon?
They're the most amazing books.
No struggles.
Every Christmas present will be these two. If you're going to read two, it's that guy there, Nick Bhatia, Layered Money, breaks down the Fed, and then that book is his latest book I just read this weekend. Unbelievable. So good.
Jack, you started this.
And just while we're on it, add a pack.
You know what I seriously think? Rather than buy each other birthday presents, I think we should set up a shared Bitcoin account and just buy 60 quid's worth of Bitcoin every time it's someone's birthday.
Good idea, mate. Very good idea. Let's go. Let's do that. Get some Bitcoin. But sorry, D, yeah, I reckon it's corp tax or VAT. I don't. They're going to do some other small wins, but if they want to get big sums of revenue, it's going to be corp tax or VAT. But what will happen is they'll get fuck all. More people will leave, and then they'll be even worse off. That's my quick 2 cents. What do you guys think? What taxes are they going to raid?
Why don't we set up a shared Bitcoin account and then all proceeds we use from even though this isn't really a big money maker, as everybody knows, but all proceeds we make from the ground up, we put into Bitcoin.
The bank, so our investors are heavy into Bitcoin as well. So we've just agreed that 50% of all profits that are made, we're going to set up a Strike account and we're going to basically send 50% every month that's brought into the company into Strike, and then we'll convert half of our earnings into Bitcoin. A bit like our own little treasury, which is amazing.
Bitcoin development hybrid. What taxes, guys? What taxes do you think they could raid?
I don't think there's going to be loads that they can, if I'm honest. They'll probably hit some form of higher earner, whether it would be pension or whatever it would be. But I don't think it'll be drastic personally.
Corp tax is 25%, but I think they could go for VAT. You just don't know these guys. Like, you just don't know what they're going to do. But I mean, if they went for VAT,
Stealth taxes, the what they've done in the past, the freezing of the bans.
What if they started taxing Bitcoin?
Yeah,
You can't tax Bitcoin. They can get rid of capital gains, but they're so scared of it. I mean, the UK and the FCA are so scared because it's just taken all the power. It's going to defrail the whole economy, the UK economy certainly. If you don't embrace it like the Americas are, then all the wealth
eat you alive.
And we built the whole economy on a financial model, right? The only way we kept the control and the power and stayed on the global stage was taking the financial part, taking the financial tools into London to basically become a global player. And you strip away that power, we're left with nothing. We don't import, we don't export anything, we don't make anything here. We're a small island. All we've got is the financial services industry. And that's why the FCA are so scared of it, because you take that power away into peer-to-peer, where I can send you value and you can send me value. We can build things onto a completely, parallel universe. There's no need for London. So we go down the pecking order very, very fast. And that's what they're scared of.
But there's some good news in the world. We'll step away from doom and gloom. Look, the UK is going to shit, and hopefully we can all fix it. Maybe we need to get up and fight. Cool. Just subscribe and share this podcast for anyone you think might find it interesting. But let's move on to AI, because AI is obviously here as well, and that's also going to cause some issues for the working market. But there's been some interesting shit happening in the UK. But also Replit, which I want to touch on as sort of the last piece. I don't know, Jack's done a piece of this on his and Ben's podcast. But fuck me, we've been diving into it over the last 2 weeks, and it's baffling stuff. But first, just on AI. Now, Pinewood, which is another big exporter. Stu was mentioning, financial services being one of our big exporters, but also, cultural creativity, the arts, TV shows, music, things like that are another huge exporting industry that we have. And Pinewood, which is down in Ivor, and they've done some expansions, and Netflix have done some, and Amazon Prime. These guys are building these big kind of movie studios. But when you look at things like Open Art and some of these other platforms,
Just quickly, right? But do you know why they're booming in this country? Because of the tax breaks. So if you want to increase the economy, no, tax breaks is the reason why movies and stuff are all filmed here. So, sorry, mate, I just wanted to say, you don't tax an economy if you want it to grow and to boom. You fucking lower taxes. It's basic 101 economics. And that's where Labour get it so wrong. But anyway, carry on, mate.
Yeah, they're banging. So yeah, they've been expanding their studios, but now obviously they're smelling the coffee, because if you look at what Open Art's done, and there's some other platforms out there, VO3 and things like that, you can make a movie with a couple prompts, and it is fucking good. Like, you can't make a full length movie yet, but you can make 8-second segments that you could stitch together successively and create a short film. And within a year, it's going to be a case where you could just put in a prompt, make me and my family James Bond, and we want to do a James Bond script around, I don't know, some nuclear catastrophe in the UK or whatever you want to do, and it'll just make the film for you. And there's all kinds of crazy ideas you can go into there. And if you look at what Pinewood's doing now, proposing a £1 billion data center. Well, why do they need a data center? Well, that's probably because they want to synthesize a whole load of information so they can create really good movie productions. And then what's that going to mean? Less people required to help produce the films. And that's the trend that we're seeing. That's getting a little bit scary for me. I knew this was going to happen, like as in there would be job displacement. I think everyone knew that. I didn't think it would happen this quick. But there's just job displacement everywhere, from paralegals to customer service agents to sales agents to the creative arts. It's just getting mental now. Like, you don't need people more and more every day for things that used to be pretty trivial to do. So Pinewood has a plan for a 55,000 square meter data center alongside a nature reserve and community garden. The government's 2024 designation of data centers is critical, as critical national infrastructure has influenced the move. And yeah, near Slough, this one, I think it's Ivor where they're based, something like that. But yeah, that was just to show like what a big company in the UK is doing. And then I just wanted to touch on Replit, and I know Jack's looked into this before as well. So Replit is ChatGPT basically. It looks like this. It's kind of like ChatGPT, where you have on the left hand side you've got your chat prompts, and then it feeds back to you there. And on the right hand side, it's a preview window for the website or the software app that you want to build. And it's not like it just makes you the UI and here's a nice little website for you, like going on Wix. Nah, this thing can do basically anything software, any process you want. So companies like Salesforce, Monday.com, Procore, Adobe, if they're a software service company, not a company that's a bricks and mortar or a hard asset backed company like Amazon that's got a software frontage, or a broadcaster like YouTube, or a network like Facebook, I think they're going to be fine for now. But these software providers, like this one tool, this one technology completely destroys their entire marketplace, because we've gone on here and with $160, we've built 3 new landing pages, a whole new website, a whole new proposition document sales funnel thing that we can do, and we've R&D'd a load of other small ideas for $160. And the website we've built is like, the quality of it the quality you can create, it'd be like an $8,000 website or a $10,000 website. Like it's insane what you can do. And our plan is to completely recreate the software base and the task management system for the whole company. And you can literally do it prompting it. And it's not perfect yet, but it's really, really close. And I think within the year, easily.
There was another website that was doing that because I built a CRM on one doing the same thing. Because I was like, oh, we need a CRM to do something specifically, and I didn't want to. Same thing. I'm going to try and find the name. Actually, I'll come back to you.
Absolutely crazy how if you wanted to set up like a startup business and you had like a very smart like integrated API into your website, so front end and back end, you would be waiting months, probably outsource it to India to be coded, and then you'd have to deal with £1,000 per week being spent on this website. Whereas now, like Ryan said, within the drop of the hat of a few days, you could pretty much create whatever you need, which is absolutely mental. And it's just digital. It's just a digital world getting easier and cheaper and faster, and that's kind of obviously the back end of it. But yeah, I think weirdly the world is going to go into a place where like there's more appreciation for like just natural stuff, like spending time with people, and like the way that like some AI videos now, I actually like they're actually like better quality imagery than actually a recording. So you don't know what's real anymore. And I think it is going to go down. I think all business and everything is going to go much more down the authentic and raw way of presenting media marketing experiences, because digital is becoming such an easy thing. Like a 6-year-old kid can build their own website now.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, it is.
Things become easier. That's what my mind absolutely blows, because if things get cheaper, if things become easier and people want simpler life, but things become more expensive, what happens to this divide where you just go, the prices are going up and up and up, and people are doing less and less and less, and aspire to do less things.
I put the video in the ground up WhatsApp group that we got. I think it was called Bubble Apps, which yours looks, the one you just pulled up, Ryan, looks a bit better actually. But the thing I built, which is a CRM for land, I did that, which I put in the group. I kid you not, I did that in 15 minutes, literally 15 minutes. And it was through prompts as well, AI prompts of what I want the website to be like. I actually used ChatGPT to help me refine the prompts, because the more clear you can make your prompts, the better the website will be. And within 15 minutes, it made, a fairly decent foundation level CRM. It just needed to look aesthetically a lot better. But I think the technology, though, on the road that's going, I can definitely see in a short space of time from now, websites and bespoke tools can be built through prompts, which is quite bad.
And sophisticated ones as well. They're more sophisticated.
So we actually found Replit because the owner did a interview on Diary of the CEO and Daniel Priestley. So I'd recommend you go and watch that. Yeah, I mean it's nice. Dorian, I just watched this video. I'm very interested in the background music that you've got there. It sounds like Austrian techno that you've got playing on the background.
So I when I work best to high beats per minute music, because my body just naturally, it feeds me energy. So I listen to a lot of like rave style music, I would say, or songs that have been remixed to high beats per minute. Yeah.
It's fucking mad, that, mate. I couldn't distract me so much. I'd be like, fuck, do I rave or do I work? I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of my staff say that to me as well, but that's how I operate best. You talk about the word flow, how you get into flow. Well, for me, it's actually having high BPM in the background and just boom.
I listen to Phil Collins typically or Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, I'll give you a bit of that, mate. But can we just touch on this this idea that this service sector, this service sector of Monday.com's, Salesforce, and there's a litany of others, $1 trillion sector is just obsoleted by this one thing. The big thing I love about it is it empowers the SME. Now the business owner no longer is constrained by, oh, I need to employ a software developer or a web designer. It's just, I could just make it like that. And it makes being an entrepreneur, being a business owner easier. And that's the fortitude that technology gives us. As technology gets better, it generally empowers the individual more. And then the government has to figure out how to regulate it so that it doesn't empower the individual too much, and so that they can consolidate that and give it to the incumbents. And that kind of happens all the time. But technology, the force function of it now, is rolling ahead. And a software like this, everyone who's listening, you've got to go and try Replit out and test it. And it will be like an eye opener. It's a whole new way of interacting with the internet. It's mad.
I don't think there'll be a complete loss of a service, because there's a lot of people that just are unable to technically, even if it's just prompting like we're talking about. There's a generation that just will struggle to do that, and when something breaks, they want someone else to deal with it.
What's going to happen to those guys though, Jack? They're going to fucking lose, aren't they?
They will lose, but I'm not worried about them winning. If you're not first, you're last. You know, we'll be fine creating our own websites, but I do think there'll still be a market of people that just, will want that customer service and someone else to deal with problems, because you do get bugs. That's the problem. If you're generating a platform with a robot, there'll be bugs, and when that bug has a problem, you've then got to go in and ask you've got to prompt it to fix it.
I speak to our AI guy a lot about this, yeah, because the bug part, you're absolutely right. The bug part is the tricky thing for AI at the moment, but the reason it's tricky is because the AI struggles to see the bigger picture of the software architecture, but they're going to get better. And when they get better, the bugs they're going to be flawless. You better build a flawless piece of tech.
So I was chatting to one of our surveyors who's like really, really techie. And he said one of the biggest problems with a robot manifested like coder is you start somewhere and then you go, oh, and add this on. Oh, and can we do this? Oh, and can we do this? And he said it creates such a complicated web, because it basically starts somewhere and finishes, and when you wherever you are, you've done such a windy road, but all that original code is still sat original. So your adaptation basically, becomes Chinese whispers, for an example. And he said the beauty of a person coding is you start from scratch. You go, oh, okay, well, if we're going to do that now, I'll do this. And you build a cleaner model if you don't have a reference point from before. And I suppose you could say, could you just recode it in a more simple form now, knowing what the outcome is? But he said the problem with that is really bug heavy, like more bug heavy than if it was a human.
And I think that more established businesses, like I built our CRM, I don't know, 10 years ago. We pay just shy of 20 grand a year for Salesforce. I think they just reduced some prices for us, but I'm still sitting there thinking, I love the idea. And if I had the energy to sort of redesign the whole model, but I love the fact I can pick up the phone and go, I just need to do this, this, and this, and someone will fix it. They've got millions and millions of hours of technical support there that can be solved within 5 minutes. And very often I don't have to get involved at all. The office will just call the helpline. They'll sort out what they're trying to do, fix a field or relationship between this and that. And it's just job done. Where I would hate to rebuild 350, 380 steps in a machine that then ultimately all lies in my head. Exactly what Jack just said. I just think there will still be that 5-10-year play where I think businesses that are already established just won't move. If someone else wanted to use this bit of software and charge me couple of grand to build the whole thing and be responsible for it, I think I'd much rather go with that.
I think if you're a software business and you're a software service business, or you offer consultancy online or something like that, I think it has a much higher impact, changing your CRM, changing your software offering, and doing it proprietary rather than through like a generalized product service like a Monday.com. I think that's a big impact for businesses like ours, where really the net benefit of our business, where we can make improvements that actually affect the bottom line, are in the real world. Like we have to move atoms from here to there. We have to do real things. But the software can alleviate and help, and collect data and do things that give us an advantage, but it will take longer to play out. So in that sense, I agree. But I still think those that build proprietary software systems that work perfectly and flawlessly for their business model, architectured for their exact use case, rather than like, it's a bit clunky, it doesn't quite do the thing we want, so we make these provisions and contingencies so the software does the thing that we want in our use case. And that's what's wrong with these generalized product platforms. Those that use a proprietary system are going to win.
There's a lot of businesses now, isn't there, that literally are being built off of AI, but you would never know. So like when sometimes you go to like a video editing team or you go to a website builder, that they can still market themselves they're doing it, but they just take all the data, whack it through AI, and then spit it back to you and make a margin. I mean, that's the new opportunity, I think, is once you've mastered one of these AIs and you can build it into your business, then you can effectively scale.
Yeah, I think that's a transition. Though the free market will level the free market will level that out because they'll have then a competitor that's half the price.
If I was to start again, I wouldn't go into. Don't get me wrong, I'd still be involved in property, but I think the business opportunity at the moment, which I'm seeing other businesses do, is helping businesses get ahead with AI by literally just going in there, mapping out their workflow, providing options using AI of what tools are best, whether they're bespoke or off the shelf, and then helping them actually project manage and implement those in the business. Because there's so many business owners out there, just like what Stuart said, they just don't have the energy. They just don't have the energy or to want to do that because they've already got something. Unless someone's going to come in and do it for them, which they're interested in.
Yeah, I had a friend that was working trying to sell software. This was 10 years ago to solicitors, but they're so embedded with the way they do stuff. It's like banging your head against a brick wall. You can't get them to change the basics. So you've got businesses that are established. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's the crack. But once it is cracked and becomes so easy, like you pick up your phone and it just fucking do the whole thing for you.
I think there's a lot of small businesses that don't want to be improved. They just like what they like.
Change, yeah.
There's a lot of lifestyle businesses, and we would go in with a sensible head and be like, "Oh, change that, change that, change that." But they're just like, "No, we're getting up. We've produced enough product. We sell enough. We're happy."
Yeah, I know a handful like that.
The problem with the business that you just talked about, Dorian, is I actually don't think you'd end up doing that. I think you would run a business that has AI advantages in it to sell a product, because what you're saying you would do is being paid for your time, which isn't a very good business to be in.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't stay in a business where I'm exchanging my time for money. I would get out of that very, very, very quickly because
Either your time or staff's time, it's still being paid for time, which isn't a service business, isn't.
well, I don't know. I would argue that because you can have a service-based business, but more like productize it, where everything comes back to time in some essence. So I would more like I wouldn't bill out per hour. I would bill per project, and I would make sure that it's like your surveying business. You're given a price for it, but there's still time involvement in it. But you're not saying, "Oh, my surveyor's £25 an hour, and I'm going to mark it up, so that's how I'm going to calculate my rate." It's more like, that's going to be £1,500 or £2,000, and the goal is for him to do that as fast as possible or as minimum time as possible, whilst achieving the quality and outputs, etc., and the margin. Try to better the margin that way.
Well, what would be, just going around the room quick before Dorian goes, what would be the number one thing if you could build your own software system thing? What would be the number one thing you'd want to build it for with your business now, other than just a complete overhaul of your whole systems for a fully integrated kind of motherboard? Not that. If there's just one part of the business you could tackle and make that super efficient with a new software system, what would it be, starting with D?
We're already building something at the moment which we've been working on, and this is the thing, that the AI tools are okay at the second, but when you're working in quite complicated things, like having an AI tool to build a basic CRM, technology's nearly there for that, or having it to build a simple like a website with pages and basic functions, it's all there. But what we're building is an estimating tool that harnesses all of our current information and obviously works off the drawings and helps speed up the estimator's time and accuracy. Taking that estimate, that cost, and once we give it our target sales price, it builds our CSA, our contract sum analysis, and it helps us load margin where the risk is, and then also helps build our inflow and outflow cash flow. So in one tool, we got our estimating, we got our CSA, we got our inflow and outflow cash flows, and our inflow and outflow budgets in one tool. We can overlay that as an entire business and have a master cash flow. But yeah.
Okay, nice. Jack?
Something to do with capital raising.
Just writes checks.
This does it for us.
Any money.
Just go like,
How did you do that?
yeah, just like an all-in-one marketing outreach capital raising tool. So one thing I did want to say about the whole Replit thing is Ben basically built a customer service portal for XP surveys on Replit. And what we found is, even though it's great, really intuitive, and you can create your own bespoke feature, if you're building something that probably someone else has built before, there's probably a better product out there that's already been built. If that makes sense. So we obviously Ben built the platform. We were playing around with it, and we're now looking at actually just adopting someone else's platform that they've already created, because the person that's created it is smarter than us at digital platforms. So I would say to any listeners out there, if you're going to go on Replit and build something like Asana or Monday.com, you're probably better off just using Asana or Monday.com at today's today. But yeah, something to do with capital raising.
I would build a workflow, literally from the point of which the follow up with sales would be right the way through to having the drawings done. So there's a lot of repetitive stages that could be manipulated, where it could all be run by a computer effectively. All the follow-ups of the cancel, the instructions to building control, the instructions to heating engineers, all the data that gets passed around. I'd have that whole thing as built into a workflow, and just literally know that you can just put deals in at the front end and spit out jobs at the back end, and have that whole bit managed would be great, because you could literally accelerate and double your input and your output by having less staff, or equal to the amount of staff you've got. The thing that what stops me scaling is doubling the workload. I had actually had our first virtual assistant interviews this week as well, which I forgot to mention at the start. And we're going to take one on just to take as many of the jobs away, which is a shame, because the national insurance of 15%. I'm saving that by just using someone in the Philippines to do the mundane jobs, but that's effectively 1,300 quid a month that the government's losing out on now, because of the way they've structured the taxing on UK staff, which is just more money being bled out of the country. But until I can get AI to do that type of job, having access to, I could interview 3 Filipino ladies this week, got on well with one who literally sounds as English as me. I was like, wow, I could. And she was like, she's interested in sales, in accounts management, but I just wanted her to free up Luke in our accounts team by 50%, so he can help me on some of the financial director duties that I need more reporting now, of where money's being spent and everything else. And and this woman, she's almost overqualified, but she's just so grateful for the opportunity to work with us, that she's gonna. I think she's gonna be great. And I just think that is a real shame that I feel like I have to take it offshore, because I'm basically getting at her half price and at a reasonable £9 an hour.
Yeah, same thing we've done with the media marketing, mate. It's just not worth it, and that's jobs in the UK. That's potential employees in the UK missing out because the government's forcing it to happen. Fucking morons. Anything else to add before we close up, boys? What are you saying?
I would actually love to build a platform that could tell us during the quiet moments of the day what Stu's thinking. I think that
I'm thinking and what I'm reading.
Yeah, what you're thinking.
Map his mind.
I could just. He's like walking out. Like, that's a big B. That's a really big B.
Bitcoin.
Ready for the golf trip, baby. Yeah, man. Repping, baby. Honestly, when you look back in 10 years' time, I'll be known as one of the original disciples, even though I feel like I'm extremely late to Bitcoin.
I was chatting to one of our listeners the other day, and he said, yeah, and occasionally the Bitcoin rants. He coined it the Bitcoin rant.
$110,000 today. I think when we started this podcast, it was at like $30,000. So it's not a bad jump in a year and a half.
Go buy Bitcoin, guys. Go buy Bitcoin. Use Replit. Big love. Thank you, everyone who's watching, and subscribe, share the episode. If anyone you think might find it useful, that helps us out a lot, so please do share it. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Peace and love.
Ground up sound. Ooh, yeah. Real estate deals. We lay them down.